Lesson 4. How hope and faith can transform you. In every soul, there's a quiet yearning to become whole, to become true, to become good, to become united. But the path to that truth is not straight. It winds through loss, temptation, despair, and uncertainty. And in those dark valleys, something more than strength is required. You need faith. Faith is not about believing things without question. Faith is what remains when every question has shattered your certainty. It is the invisible thread that pulls you forward when logic gives you no reason to keep going. Without it, strength turns to pride, wisdom becomes cold, even love can grow hollow. Faith grounds us, not in facts, but in meaning. It reminds us that life is more than survival, more than success, more than control, and even more than greed. It keeps the inner compass aligned with what matters, especially when the outer world tries to twist it. It is faith that helps you endure when you are broken. It is faith that holds the line when temptation whispers. It is faith that helps you remain good when bitterness and power could have changed you. Faith does not guarantee victory, but it guarantees transformation. To become who you truly are, you must walk through the fire without becoming fire. To overcome the storm, you must anchor yourself in something deeper than circumstance. To remain good, you must believe, even when the world gives you every reason not to. That is faith, not an answer, but a direction, not certainty, but devotion. Strength and discipline will take you far, but when they run out, the only question is who has more faith. Faith is the difference between winning and losing when the fight gets long and you are broken. Let me repeat that again. Strength and discipline will take you far, but when they run out, the only question is who has more faith. Faith is the difference between winning and losing when the fight gets long and you are broken. In life, you will face moments where logic says stop and fear says run, but faith whispers, step forward. Many breakthroughs only happen when you act without proof, when you trust there's meaning even if you can't see it. Faith turns risk into transformation. Without it, you never move. The most important truths, love, purpose, goodness, can't be measured. We live in a world obsessed with evidence, but some things are real before they are visible. Faith helps us anchor in things like justice, beauty, dignity, things that give life meaning but often defy proof. When the world loses its way, the faithful remain oriented. Without faith, trials only produce bitterness. With it, they purify you. Goodness without hardship is untested. Real virtue is forged in temptation, and the soul's worth is not seen in the light, but how it endures the dark without losing its flame. Many people live trapped in guilt, shame, or fear. Faith opens the door to becoming someone new, not by erasing the past, but by redeeming it, transforming wounds into wisdom and regret into resolve. Faith says, you can become more. There comes a point in every journey when discipline breaks, and the early motivation is gone. The structure crumbles and the results don't show. Faith takes over here. It is what keeps your feet moving when the goal is far and the effort feels wasted. Without faith, it will be incredibly hard for you to stay in a long-term fight when everything feels wasted. If you do not have faith in God, you will have to have faith in something else. Over time, action without purpose leads to burnout. Faith reconnects you to meaning. It reminds you that your path is about more than perfection. It is about transformation. Without faith, discipline becomes hollow. With it, discipline becomes sacred. You can act without feeling, but you cannot grow without believing. Let me repeat that. You can act without feeling, but you cannot grow without believing. You can live with perfect discipline and still feel empty, because real transformation isn't about control, it is about becoming. Faith is what allows you to walk into the unknown self, to trust the process and to let go of who you were to become who you are. When the body is tired and the will has nothing left, only the soul can walk and tell the body and will to hold on. Let me repeat that. When the body is tired and the will has nothing left, only the soul can walk and tell the body and will to hold on. Think about that. Your will is really the last station of your discipline. This is why when your will and discipline runs out, a great soul is what separates the great from the best. It is what we mean when we say it's not about the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. Faith also teaches us the most beautiful lesson, to live for something more than yourself. And you'll be surprised just how much more we're willing to stand up for things we believe in. It is important because without faith we often get lost in the world, lost in our senses, and become degraded to mere animals seeking pleasure. Remember, after will and discipline runs out, faith is what keeps a man in the fight. Your higher self has more in it than the often 40% your body and willpower is comfortable using. Let me repeat that. Your higher self has more in it than the often 40% your body and willpower is comfortable at any time using. And if you're ever pushing yourself to the extremes, you'll find the very act of it soon becomes an act of faith. Let's just take and repeat that again. You'll find the very act of it soon becomes an act of faith if you're pushing yourself to the extreme. Think about that. Pushing yourself to the extreme is an act of faith. Most people don't like faith because they have made their ego into their higher self. They identify with the mask they carry and have made their needs into God. They prefer to practice grandiosity, not humility, and they refuse to look deeply into their own ego to spot if it's not even real. Instead, it is the quiet voice behind the ego, your higher self, that is your true voice, your true guide. Learn to notice which part of yourself that it is that is speaking. Faith anchors identity. It restores you when you fall, and it keeps you good and in the fight. Dismiss faith at your own peril. This was lesson 4. For the previous lessons, go to the channel now. They are already there. This will be a part of a 12-part series. Subscribe now to not miss out on lesson 5 when it becomes available. Thank you for watching and take care out there.